What's up? So today I wanted to discuss an idea before I just dismiss it. I wanted to fully bring it out before I just dismiss it as impossible. So what I wanted to do, what my DAP idea right now is going to be called Daodex. That's right, Daodex. It's going to be a mixture between a DAO and a DEX. And it will be running a DPoS consensus mechanism running on top of EOS, utilizing the DAO's funds to maintain the necessary resources to properly function. So how it'll work is you're going to have two native tokens. Similar to most DPoSs, I was thinking whether or not it would be needed to make a third pegged asset that would then be utilized on the DEX itself. But really, I wanted to split it up into two different things. One would be the DAO portion of it, and then the second would be the DEX portion of it, and those two would be the according assets underlining it. So you're going to have DAO, simply DAO, being the token that controls the there's going to be the staked token, and that staked token is going to be utilized for the consensus. And then you're going to have DEX, which is then going to be the distribution token that will also be obviously utilized inside the actual DEX itself. And how the DAO would actually be proposed would be similar to most of the DPoS consensus mechanism, in which an individual with DAO staked inside of their account can propose an additional asset towards the overall fund, and then others could then agree upon that and vote accordingly whether or not it should be included or not included. And similar to Steam's distribution of it being split 50-50 for Steam, SP and SBD, though now we have Steam, but that's a separate conversation. What you're going to have is the distribution split, DAO split into a staked DAO, and then also DEX, and you're not going to have curation. Instead, insistently, the amount that is put forward in the voting mechanism would then be the amount utilized to purchase an asset inside the DEX, and that's how the DAO will be able to be run as a fund, growing and attached to the DEX itself. So if an individual would like to propose let's say absolute, just to make math simple, one DAO would distribute two DAO vote would distribute one DEX and one DAO, in which then the DAO you would have the inclusion inside of the DAO fund would be the one divided by the overall staked supply of DAO times the amount that you times that amount. So you'd essentially be you'd be placing one DAO worth of whatever asset you wanted in that underlying proposal inside of the overall DApp fund, and that DApp fund would be pooling that asset from the DEX. Aside from that, the DEX distribution would then incentivize utilization of the DEX, providing a utility token, even though it would be probably more inflationary than anything. So obviously I've been toiling with how to best approach maybe proposing an underlying third pegged asset similar to SPD, but I don't know. I started to write it out on paper. And then the overall value of the Dow would be the total. Actually, that would probably be the better method. Staked Dow distribution would be put into entirely DEX, and it wouldn't be a 50-50 split. So you'd be essentially swapping out. That's interesting. Let me think.
It's like a Viking, man. Can you shut up? It's like a 7-foot Viking.
Yeah, that seems to be working. All right, cool. So what you're going to have is you're going to have staked Dow distributing DEX, and no, there you go. You're going to have it 50-50 distribution of Dow into Dow index, by which then the 50% of the DEX would be equivalent to how much Dow would be burnt in exchange for the underlying asset being proposed to be added to the fund. Yes, that works. Because that would then solve the inflationary value of Dow, while that would only make DEX a shitcoin, though. That's the problem. You'd be stuck with a overinflationary DEX. So, okay, then the power up. That that would work. Then to power up your DEX into Dow, you would have to make a ratio of circulating supply of Dow divided by circulating supply of DEX. Right? Yes, that would work. To power up DEX into Dow, you would then have to do quantity DEX powered up times circulating supply of. Would it be better to do circulating or total supply? I feel like total supply is just gonna wreak too much havoc. Circulating supply would be okay. That works. Yeah. To power up DEX into Dow, you'd have to do X Dow equals circulating supply of Dow divided by circulating supply of DEX times amount of DEX staked. Yeah, that works. Let's see. So, inflationary. That works. Okay. So, now let's discuss flagging. How would you disincentivize? Because I'm also trying to figure out on the best, deter exploitation. I think that works. For the other part, keep going through it in my head. Sound.